Okay. So that would take it down to a 53. And okay, so you you feel like as this process is happening, you're able to retain a great deal of everything uh, that you're surmising right now, and as the process continues and the moments tick by, and you start evaluating each kind of portion of this machine that you're able to kind of hover over and observe, um, each block of information becomes just a little more solid and clear to you as you're trying to store it as well. So you feel like your retention of what you're learning is actually going to be fairly substantial. Um, each block is scanned in turn and then kind of assembled by your mind into a unified type of schematic and overall kind of themed blueprint. And as you're making small, minute observations on some of the most important aspects of this machine, in turn, you do start feeling uh, the telemechanics begin to dwindle and slip away. And as this sensation washes over you, you feel that strange, heavy weight return that signals your complete uh, uh, encapsulation and grounding to your physical form once again. That heightened sense and elevated view rapidly seems to fall away from you, and once again, you're standing with your body's weight upon your feet once again. Um, as you look around, a bit spent by the experience, um, you realize that you were able to capture quite a bit of the information indeed, as you're able to recall it easily. You know that this will fade in time, but through using Total Recall, you'll be able to recall chunks in extreme detail that will be very, very helpful to any research that you may want to do into this kind of technology. Um, let's see. I want to make a small note there. Okay, excellent. Uh, okay, so as this fades and you come back to your senses, what would you like to do? Where would you like to be, and how do you want to proceed? You realize that you could use some time, basically sitting and trying to transfer some of this data any way that you would be most comfortable. Um, a lot of times you like making audio backups as you're making observations, much like a coroner or anything like that, um, where you're just making notes that can be reviewed later. But you also, when you're doing something like that, you're usually using your portable computer as well to enter data that way, for kind of digital reference, and so that you can bring it up, in the form of schematics later and all that kind of thing. Um, you know that you could easily spend probably 2 or 3 hours right now doing that with the information that you've just harvested, in order to really get it all fully down in that capacity. And again, you usually do it that way because the most important is obviously transferring it to a digital medium, but doing the voice recordings while you're doing it is just kind of like a bonus. It just is
Yeah,
helpful.
I would basically be using my personal computer to like draw out little blueprints of the things that like the different components and what I recognize and what I could try to rebuild. And while doing that with my intelligence score, thinking I could hopefully maybe multitask while doing that and drawing those things down, while I'm then also speaking and giving a audio record of what I'm going through and remembering too.
Perfect. All right. You go ahead and well, would you like to start that now, or did you want to do anything else? I just want to be clear.
I want to get that done as quickly as possible before I start messing with the actual table itself. I just want to get the table's information down, basically.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna say that essentially, um, after about an hour and a half, you move over to the table because, um, essentially you've gotten everything possible in from making visual observations. You feel like you have some rough schematics relatively set, and you come over to the laptop, which you are able to quickly plug into. It kind of gives you a little extra computational power, and you're also able to, um, as you do that, you're also able to use the laptop's kind of onboard. It it has systems set up to basically assist in like CAD and things like that. So it just is a little bit of an extra resource that you don't really have on your ARM unit. So as you're plugged into that, you begin kind of really putting this information together. You're able to use its onboard systems to get your schematics rocking and rolling quickly. Everything's coming out pretty cleanly. There's several times that you get back up and go over to check on things. You take some digital photographs to really kind of give you a complete reference. Um, and why don't we go ahead and say, why don't we say we're going to have you roll? Let me check your skills real quick here. Gonna say, let's get a computer operation roll and a mechanical engineer roll.
So there's skills, mechanical engineer. They're grayed out for some reason. Why are they grayed out? The dice part. Oh, it's not responding again. I don't know what's going on with this roll 20, but it's keeps freezing on me.
It's giving you trouble. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's okay.
I don't know what it's doing.
Yeah, my internet seems to be fine, but it's being...
Well, no rush. Reload and do it whatever you need to.
Never had an issue any of the other times either. It's weird. It's being goofy.
Yeah, and I don't think the map is cracked this time. The only problem we had in the beginning is I didn't put your token on the right layer. I for some reason, that's the simplest thing in the whole setup to do, and it's the one thing I always forget about, and it makes you think all this like major stuff is going on, and it's not. It's just not on the right layer. So,
All right, mechanical engineer is one of them, right?
yeah, if you would go ahead and do computer operation first.
Input value modifier.
Go ahead and do a 20. Okay.
So I'm confused. I want to roll low on these, typically, or do I want to
Yes.
roll high on them? Okay.
Pretty much on skill rolls, it's almost always going to be you want to roll low because you're trying to roll under what your value is.
Man, I'm killing it then with these 80s and 90s.
All right. So as you begin interfacing with this system, you definitely have some trouble. You're not exactly sure why, but there's just some really weird fucking code on this laptop. But you do realize that this system is going to be what's going to let you basically get the schematics that you need instead of just putting information in on your much less sophisticated kind of ARM computer. Um, and so initially, as you're trying to interface properly and get everything flowing nice, you're just hitting a brick wall. But as you're doing this, you realize, okay, I need to take my time with this. There's no rush. And after about 10 minutes of feeling just a bit of frustration and it giving you some issues, you realize, okay, I should just get up and do something else for a few minutes and come back and try this again if I'm interested in really getting some schematics of this. So, as you realize this and you decide to stretch your legs, because this is a process that you've hit a lot of times before, you've hit the same wall in this process and you've had to shake it up and find what works for you. This always seems to work to just get up, stretch your legs, get the blood pumping. So, as you get up after 10 minutes, what would you like to do for just a moment to kind of clear your head?
I'm gonna go to the bathroom, take a piss.
All right. So
You know what? I'll go to the bathroom, take a piss, and as I'm washing my hands, I'll do the stereotypical movie splash water on my face.
okay.
Look in the mirror.
All right. Why don't you head on over to the restroom? Guys, this is going to be the first time we try out the door opening mechanic. How about that? All right. Excellent. So, as you open the bathroom door, are you able to move yourself through that door now?
Yep.
Excellent. Good, good. So, you step into the room, and as you step into the room, I'd like you to roll a perception check if you wouldn't mind. As you quickly look about, you see a medical kit on the wall as normal. You see a mop bucket in the far corner, a drain in the floor near the far wall. And okay. And you see that there appears to be what looks like 3 stalls. You can't tell if the far stall is a shower, because you're seeing a drain there, or if it's just, another stall. But from what you can see right now, it looks like there's 2 toilet stalls and then a third stall a little further on. As you're looking about, you hear a strange metallic scratching on the tiles of the floor, the ceramic tiles of the floor. And the scratching, it's just brief for just a moment. It sounds like something thin and metal, but with lots of points of contact scratching against the tile. You hear it coming from that third stall from out of your field of view. The toilets appear to be made of metal and almost like prison issue. They're just for functionality. But the bathroom itself overall seems very clean and well kept, and you can smell a strong odor of bleach, denoting that maintenance obviously keeps it, clean throughout. And that's something you've noticed about this entire area. Everything seems very well maintained, like they take it seriously to give individuals like yourself a decent area to work in. Now, as you're taking all of this in and you hear this noise, as soon as you register hearing it, it stops. All right. What would you
Metal
like to do?
scraping. You said it was like metal scraping on tile.
Correct. If you had to guess, you would almost guess that it was like a very small metal hand rake that you would just use in gardening, right? Just something just to kind of till up some soil, just something with maybe 5 or 6 different little edges that kind of just for a moment sounded like they scraped across. Am I explaining that right? You know what I mean by a hand rake?
Yeah, yeah.
The kind
So
of,
it doesn't sound like anything large. It sounds.
no, no.
Um. I'm going to, I guess, try to head into this stall. Oh, wait. This stall. Like I've noted, very nonchalantly, and then very. Are there gaps underneath the stalls at all, or
Correct.
they go full to the floor? There are gaps.
Both above and below.
Okay. Then
It's
I will go
set.
into
It's
this.
set at about like 7 foot. The walls, partitions.
I'll go into the middle stall.
Okay.
And try to get a peek into the left stall from under to see if I can see anything, whether it be a shadow or the actual object itself, or anything from my vantage point. And,
Okay.
to sound, I guess, to be less nonchalant and be inconspicuous, whatever. If I don't see anything initially, then I will start going to the bathroom while still trying to like angle myself and look more.
Okay. You basically don't see anything that looks like a shower curtain or anything as you get closer. So you're not picking up necessarily that it's like a shower area, but not fully going around the corner, you can't quite tell what's over there. Now, as you step further into the stall and get in front of the toilet, you're able to see underneath. And again, you don't see anything that really makes you think that that's like a shower area. You are able to see on the floor, there's some kind of pipe coming up from the floor going up against the wall. Would you like to kind of step up on the toilet and look over? Or did you want to just go ahead and start using the restroom?
No, if I see that, I'll give a peekaboo.
Okay, so as you take a peek over, or did you want to look under? Whatever you'd like.
I'll do a quick squat, but not fully like get down on the ground, but a quick squat. If I don't see anything, I'll stand up and look over.
Okay, you squat down and you can't see anything from that angle.
Yeah,
So as you
no.
step up and look over, essentially, we'll just go like this so that essentially you're able to see that it's just basically a sink kind of setup. But you're still right over here. Now you don't see anything at all out of the ordinary.
That would have made that noise, basically.
Not at all.
Do I?
You have not used the restroom yet, by the way.
Yes. Can I? Can I cast See the Invisible real quick?
Absolutely.
Do I notice anything with that cast, or is it still just?
Did you go ahead and cast it?
Yeah, it says I cast it.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. There we go. I don't know why, but this thing reason it takes a second to update. Okay. So as you cast your See the Invisible spell, um, you're just doing a base cast of it, right? You didn't. I don't think you have any gear that you focus that through, do you? Or you? I mean, you could focus it through your
it's
like
not built
goggles or
into it.
something.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would use. That's how I would cast the spell. By
Okay.
using that, but I don't have it set in my goggles yet. But I would cast it through the goggles. Yes.
Through the goggles, okay. And guys, what we're talking about there, just to make it clear, is techno wizards. They're they're not really comfortable just casting the spells that they know. They take those spells in their kind of spell library and they either cast them through some physical object that has something to do with the spell they're going to use. Like if you're trying to see the invisible, casting it through a pair of sunglasses would be perfect, or regular glasses, goggles, whatever. A monocle, a magnifying glass, whatever. Just like if you wanted to cast fly, it'd be great to have like a at least a parachute backpack with like, some wings sticking out of it or something like that. And so they're also able, though, to enchant objects to kind of do the same thing, but then the object itself is what's magical, and it doesn't really cost them at that point to cast it. So it's very advantageous to have, like, you know, something like the sunglasses that can see the invisible already built and made, so that when he casts it, it won't take his energy, it'll just come out of the device itself. So a lot of interesting facets to techno wizardry, but that's what we're talking about there. All right, so as you
Yeah,
reach
even for
up,
casting base spells, I still kind of need a catalyst to cast it through, right? Like a corresponding
you
catalyst.
that's the rub, is that they can cast any of their spells, but
Oh, but
it's
it's like
like at
some,
half strength and
yeah.
all kinds of different shit. So anyway, and I think in some instances it can cost double. There's
Yeah.
some different modifiers for casting. So anyway, all right. So as you reach up and you touch your goggles and start infusing them with some of your mystic energy and start aligning those forces in your mind into the correct kind of mystical patterns. You feel yourself activate your See the Invisible as you slide the goggles down around your eyes. As you do so, give me just one moment. Okay. As you do so, you lean around the side of the partition and you see this individual crouched in the far corner by the sink, staring at you uh, with one hand firmly planted on the tile in front of her between her bent and crouched knees, and the other hand holding that weapon uh, pointing directly at you. Now, the weapon itself.
I don't see the image that you're talking about.
Oh, my bad. Here you go.
Oh shit. Okay.
There we go. Um, Now, the weapon that it's pointing at you is a extremely sophisticated piece of technology that has a powerful glow coming out of the barrel. Are you able to see that?
You can see her. I don't see I don't see a glow coming out of the barrel.
Let me see if I can. What if I go like this? Shift, no. Players' journals. There is some way for me to show this, but for right now, we'll simply go like this. Can you... Oh, okay. My bad. I think it's because... I don't have that all set. Sorry, give me just one moment here. Well, I will have to just go like this. Go into... There it is. Okay. So that's the energy rifle that she's pointing at you.
Okay.
I say she just because of the obvious female kind of form.
Figure, yeah.
And down the large bore, you just see huge kind of plumes of greenish plasma, you would guess, escaping from the tip of the barrel. As this individual looks at you and seems to just wait, almost immediately it seems to sense that you can now see it. And as you're gazing at it, fast and lithe as a cat, it stands completely erect to its full size of about 5 feet tall. As it does so, you notice several things that intrigue you. You notice that its carapace seems to move each piece independently of its own volition. Some pieces move more rapidly, some slower, but overall the general effect is you can tell that each piece is a separate section of the suit. Now, the mechanics of this are beyond science. That should not be possible just with normal materials. You see that the spinal protrusions, each one seems to be moving and angling itself independently and of its own volition, giving it a strange, almost rattling kind of appearance, like a rattlesnake's tail. This seems to cause no sound whatsoever, though. In fact, even as this creature rises and stands before you, still leveling the weapon at you, you don't hear any noise coming from the gear that it's wearing at all. Now, the face is just an empty black kind of reflective mirror. It doesn't show anything behind it, but you're able to see yourself perfectly in your reflection. And it's strange because the detail that you're able to see, it almost seems beyond what makes sense from the distance you're standing from it and the angle that you're looking at it. It gives it a strange kind of otherworldly quality to whatever this glass or mirrored substance is. You see that the filigree and trim of this form is in a kind of bronze, copper, and gold mixture. You can see little threadings and veins of different substances throughout those highlight material areas. And you notice now, in just the same split second, as you're taking all of this in, that the hand of this creature seems to indeed be in some way merging with the weapon itself. You can't explain this as you've never seen something like this before, but the overall appearance, it seems familiar. It seems close to the family tree of what you experienced in your vision uh, all of that time ago that sent you down this path. In whatever this creature is, you sense a kinship to what you've been searching for this entire time. And you wonder if there is some real connection there to what you have been searching for. Now, as this thing stands, we're going to go ahead and roll a 20-sided die. If you'd roll initiative for me, I would appreciate that. And we're going to, let me go ahead and open that up. Turn order.
Initiative. Do I have that? Right. Oh, you fucking ass. It keeps rolling like on a good one, then just teeters off to a bad one. Every time.
Why didn't that? Oh, because I need to.
I mean, I know it's just a graphical showing of.
We need to add turn. You know what? I could just click on this and then go initiative roll the tracker.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought I did mind the tracker. My bad. Did I not?
Oh no, you're good. You did.
Okay, cool.
I did mine wrong. So, okay. All right. So as it stands and is still leveling the weapon at you, what would you like to do? It is your turn.
I'll put my hands up in a non-threatening manner, and I'll say, "I do me no harm."
Okay.
Just
As you raise your hands, do you want to tell it you had to pee?
Yeah, I'll say that.
All right. As you say this, it's staring at you and it seems to relax just a bit. And it kind of cocks its head to the right, maybe 3 degrees, just almost imperceptibly. And as it does so, it nods its head almost immediately over to the left twice sharply in a gesture that you would take to mean go use the
Go
yeah. And it just stands there.
With you here.
And it just continues looking at you.
I will take a step backwards and then side shuffle back to the stall.
Okay.
And then I'll do another side shuffle as I pass my line of sight. And I'll wait a second to see if I hear anything again. and then I'll take a step forward.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna sit to pee on this one, so that way I can be facing the door and have my hand ready on my blade in case it decides to do something to me while I'm peeing.
Okay.
So I'm gonna sit and pee.
All right. You turn around and sit and pee, trying to be as strategic about the situation as possible. This causes a bit of bladder shyness, which you quickly overcome. But after just a few seconds, when the stream flows, you still have heard no reaction from the interloper. After just a moment, you finish your business, stand and get your clothes reset, and you're all set. What would you like to do? And it's still around the divider. Like it's back over by the sink.
Still in the
So
same spot. It hasn't really moved, right?
nope, it stood in the same. Yeah.
I'll come back around very slowly with hands up, and I'll side shuffle back in front of it. So I'm not like turning the corner. I'm actually like already turned facing where it would be before I break, before I get back in line of sight with it.
Get you? All right.
And I'll be like, I need to wash my hands.
Okay. All right. And as you say that, it's standing off to the right side, fairly close to the wall. So there would be just enough room
to squeeze by it.
To squeeze by it if you wish. In fact, I don't know why I haven't. Is this why? Yeah, there we go. Okay. It's on token. So yeah, you can squeeze by it if you'd like.
Even if I could have squeezed by it initially, I would have still said that just because it's like still right by the sink, just
yeah.
Kind of be like, hey. But if it doesn't move after that, I would have been like, okay. And I would slowly step forward and begin to wash my hands. This thing's within like a foot or two of me right now, right?
Yes. As you step by it, you're right next to it.
Does
right
it
next to it.
Adjust and move slightly out of my way or turn its body towards me as I'm right next to it?
It keeps turning towards you, and it basically keeps that big, open, green, flaming bore pointed basically center mass of your chest.
Lovely. I'll just, as I'm washing my hands, I'll just make a little bit of small talk, and I'll say, so you hang out in bathrooms often?
Okay. And as you say this, and you're kind of washing your hands, it makes no reply. It just continues observing you.
Can I, while I'm washing my hands, kind of just up and down this thing, does this look like a suit, or does this look like an organism made from what its exoskeleton type parts are?
It looks fascinating because even to your trained eye, you can't tell. It's looking at this creature is giving you a kind of sense of joy and glee that you don't remember having in it since you were a child, because it literally seems to represent possibilities that you've pondered but
dreamed about.
Exactly.
Does the face of this thing is pretty much as the images? It's like a mirror, like almost reflection, or like a high gloss reflection type.
Correct.
Okay. And I don't see, it's not like there's no see-throughness. Like I can't see any workings or lights or anything flashing behind the surface. Okay. So if I'm looking at this thing, I'm pretty much seeing myself.
Yes.
In the reflection.
But again, the reflection offers a very interestingly distorted image. You can't quite place why it looks so off. other
the
than the
funhouse mirror or
dimensions.
something?
Not quite so distorted. There's a distortion that's just on the edge of perception, and
Okay.
it causes you to feel like there's some kind of mystical, dimensional, you don't know, some
So
otherworldly
I'm
quality.
not warbly like a weird mirror with fat and skinny parts, but it's my vision of myself is obscured in a different way.
Correct. Would you like to make a perception roll?
Sure. I can do this.
So you notice that it's the timing. As you are moving around, what you're noticing is sometimes your image is moving a split second after you do in reality. But more intriguingly, every once in a while there appears to be a glitch, kind of like an old VHS recording skipping a bit. And in that small glitched frame or two of time, you're seeing where you're about to be. Maybe a full half second from when it occurs.
So it's kind of like when audio and video are off of each other at times.
Correct.
Okay.
And yet somehow this is seeing apparently into the future.
So sometimes I'll see myself like reach for the think handle like a split second before I've actually done it.
Correct.
But it's not consistent. It's kind of going back and forth.
Very inconsistent.
Okay.
For the most part, it's fairly synced up, but you'll see it kind of slow down and fall behind much more often than you see it leap ahead.
Okay. I'll finish up drying my hands and I'll look down at the gun trade on my chest and I'll be like, does it look? Do I see brand name? Do I see maker? Do I recognize model? Anything like that, or is this completely foreign to me?
You wanted to look at it or the weapon?
The weapon is pointing at me.
Okay. As you observe the weapon, what you notice is that it appears that this may be some external piece of machinery, but for the most part, what you see is a flowing of the creature's limb directly into this what seems to be the superstructure of the weapon itself. And upon looking further at this now, you can't quite tell if it's holding a weapon or its arm is extending out to form this.
I'll look at it again and I'll do a very slight head tilt, like trying to not necessarily mock but copy what it did earlier.
Okay.
And I'll say, did you make that?
Okay, and at this, it puts its right hand up in front of its face, and it raises one slender, elongated and slightly deformed segmented finger of the same carapace material in front of its faceplate in a silencing gesture, very softly and smoothly, with the grace of a feline. Every movement concise and economical in energy expenditure. as it holds the finger directly vertically in front of it, it seems to freeze in place. And as it does so, the weapon that it is holding fully retracts within a half second into small, medium, and large segmented components of individual nature. As these components begin to separate and withdraw into the arm itself, within no more than a second and a half, the entire weapon has been retrieved by the main body, and the arm itself looks completely uniform with its counterpart. As it does this, it now lowers its left arm to its side and begins walking around the side of you closest to the exit, and begins stepping around and waves its right hand over towards the door that you came in to the restroom.
Let's motion me towards the bathroom door.
Correct.
Okay. While it walked around me, I would have matched what it was doing with me earlier, keeping my, straight at me as I rotate and pivot.
Okay.
To follow it, so I'm keeping it, in my sights. And I will go towards where it's motioning.
Okay. You both quickly basically exit the restroom. And as you emerge, she takes the lead. I'm just going to use the term she.
She, because of the, yeah.
Takes the lead and begins walking around the cabinet, or around the tool chest, and heads over to this area.
My cat just tried to steal a sleeve of Girl Scout cookies. You're gonna eat those. What's wrong with you?
As you keep pace, you head over and you're able to see what was behind the workstation. As you come over this way, you see that it's all pretty mundane objects. There's another power outlet. It looks like some kind of data processing unit, maybe some kind of chemical scanner setup. There we go, right up there. This is the power station, and then this seems to be like the main power kind of transformer of the workshop, that's got some cabling hooked up for, like heavy energy needs, heavy energy drain purposes. So as you're standing over here, she points you towards the southern wall and nods in that direction slightly.
I feel like I'm in like school and going behind the blackboard to make out. I'll look over where she nods. Do I notice anything?
Go ahead and roll a perception roll. Okay.
No, I don't see dick.
You don't notice anything, and you still have your goggles on of See the Invisible. You notice that you're probably, like, nothing visually has happened to make you think that she's now visible. I'll just put it that way, okay? But with the goggles still activated and looking at that section of wall, that she was gesturing at, you're not seeing anything that's being magically revealed. It just looks like all the other wall section and floor section in this area. Kind of smooth, just composite materials.
I'll walk over to where she had gestured, being a bit slow with my movements, or that she's not just pointing at me, spotting the wall so she can shoot me in the back of the head or something.
Okay. You head over, and as you're taking a close look at the wall, go ahead and roll another perception check. A moment goes by, and you continue investigating.
Oh my god, I'm rolling terrible today. I have not gotten a single good roll, I don't think.
All right, as you continue looking, you can't seem to find anything, and you can feel yourself getting a bit. You feel like this isn't the best impression to make right off the bat, but
I turn real quick and be like, "I'm sorry."
It seems to look at you, but it doesn't. It's not showing any signs of empathy or sympathy or judgment or anything. It's just simply like standing there next to that large machine, just basically standing still with its arms at its sides, and it's just staring at you, just observing.
So, earlier when it did the shush motion, did
Yes.
I understand that as it being like, stop talking, there's something, or I don't, like, you need to be quiet because I don't want people to hear us? Or was it more like, I don't speak, or just stop talking and follow? Like, was it like, did I gather anything from?
You gathered out of those options that it was more of stop talking and follow, because right away it started walking forward.
Yeah, that's what I took it as initially, but I didn't want to continue talking if I was like, maybe I was supposed to be quiet. So, I'll just say to it, I'm guessing you understand me, and I'm, for some reason, not picking up what you're trying to show me. Do you speak?
It stares at you blankly for just a moment, just as it has been, and then it turns towards the wall, and it steps forward.
Fucking here. Sorry, geez.
It steps forward, and as it does so, it raises its left hand up towards a section of the wall about 5 feet off of the ground, off pretty far to its left. Yeah, to its left. And as it does so, you see that its hand seems to just lightly trace the surface of the wall for a moment, and then it taps one finger on a particular spot and steps back. And as it does so, it points that same finger to that exact same spot that it just touched, and then it points over to you.
Okay. I'll go and touch that spot or examine that spot.
Okay. You head over, and as you begin to examine the wall directly at that location, you notice that there's no indent, there's no different surface or discoloration that you can identify.
Seam of any sort?
No, nothing whatsoever. It just looks like another section of basically like plasticrete wall that's completely standard. As you lean in and observe it pretty much as closely as you can, you just can't see anything off about it at all.
I'll try to maybe push it slightly, or
Okay? As you reach out and touch it with your finger, for the first time, you feel some kind of strange kind of give that shouldn't be there. And as you do so, you hear a loud kind of click echo through the surface of the wall itself, and you realize that there is some kind of door right there next to the apparent button that you just pressed. Are you able to see that now?
Sorry, I was looking through my skill page. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. As you do so, and you realize that that must be the location of some kind of door, the individual with you just simply nods towards the door, towards that wall now, as if to say, proceed.
Okay. Once again, kind of being a little bit wary and whatever, I will politely nod back in a sort of a thanks gesture, I guess, and turn slowly, and I will try to open the door. Should I just click on that door?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. As you click on, or as you press your palms against what must be the door, let me make sure. Here we go. As if the surface itself were one large motion sensor, you immediately begin feeling the two panels making a large, sturdy, several foot thick vault-like door begin sliding away from each other, opening a pathway beyond. As these two panels slide back, they're completely silent. And they appear to create no real friction and move with a well-oiled kind of finesse that belies their size and apparent strength. You also know that it must be a fairly advanced kind of system that constitutes this contraption because spatially it really shouldn't be possible for large vault-like doors to be in this part of the overall structure. So you would guess that whatever's able to do this, and you know this because of your own innate talent with mechanical infrastructure and engineering and so forth. So whatever's at work here is probably either magical or fairly advanced technology, okay? As the doors slide back, you look through to the area beyond, and you see that there is a fairly shallow staircase leading down, stairs made of the same constituent material as the building itself, this kind of plasticrete, very standard, mega damage material. These stairs lead down to a landing, and on the right-hand side of the landing, from where you're standing, there's a small control console. As you look down further, you are able to see... Make sure we can see Ren's perspective here. As you look down further, you're able to see that there's quite a bit of storage material set up down several feet lower than the level you're standing on right now. There's all kinds of different containers, as well as a large, what appears to be maybe a generator, down in the main area from what you can see below. You also see in the middle of the floor, it appears that there's some really large grate that you would guess is for drainage. Definitely not for ventilation, but the specifics of it you can't really see from this distance too well. Um, Among some of the things appearing to be stored down here, there seems to be some barrels, some yellow barrels that you would assume contain chemicals, fuel, you're not sure. Um, and that's really all you can see from this vantage point.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna
Okay,
before I decide to move forward, I'm just gonna look what she's doing.
she begins striding forward just completely confidently, no hesitation whatsoever, descending towards the stairs and starting to head down.
Okay. I will follow.
Okay. Why don't you bring your token along? As she descends the stairs, um, very quickly she reaches the bottom of the stairs, and as you both do so, you see that the console in front of you appears to be her target. By the way, when you drop something, if you hold down Alt, you can put it exactly where you want it, not necessarily right on the grid. That helps quite a bit. Um,
Okay.
I'm not going to need you moving around very often, but just so you know. Okay, so as you guys reach this console, um, she holds out a hand to it and splays her fingers wide. And as she does this, you see that the protrusions of her spinal plates seem to still quite a bit. And as they seem to still and kind of form a rigidity instead of this kind of spasmodic action that they've been displaying, um, it almost gives you the impression that this being is concentrating. Um, as it does so, the console springs to life with several different readouts showing on the display now that apparently involve the power flow of the room, the temperature, airflow, air venting systems, and air purification systems, everything controlling the water pressure. It appears to basically be a main maintenance access for this workshop's, kind of mini facility itself. As you get down here, you're also able to see that this is definitely some kind of power plant in front of you, this main machine, and it appears to be in fully working order. Everything looks like it's fairly well maintained. You can see that there's some signs of, chemical spillage on the floor, which appears to be what the grate is actually for. And you do notice, though, that the grate itself is almost, well, you would guess about 4 foot on a side. So, I mean, it's actually a large, large grate. This appears to be a grate that's a unit and not just cabling that's been, cable netting that's been built into the structure itself. It looks almost like a filter plate for an air ventilation system, in that it's all a single unit and it's just simply been bolted down to the structure of the flooring itself by large, about 6 inch um, bolt caps. So with enough force, the whole grate itself looks like it probably would come up by removing those bolts. Does that make sense? I want to make sure you're
Yeah.
getting a clear sense of the grate. Okay. Now, as you look around a little more, you're also able to see that there are hazardous labelings on most of these containers, with several sets of different warning labels all across the barrels. So you would guess that they're pretty dangerous chemicals of some type. As far as what's in the crates, you're not really sure. Okay, as this being retracts her hand from the console, from just above it, it seems to lock its gaze on you once again, and it nods towards the console, and seems to indicate you just placing your hand on the console itself, on the kind of like display face.
Okay. Yeah, I'll follow in suit.
Okay, you go ahead and place your hand on the display face. Nothing happens.
I'll do a quick glance at her. Like, what was supposed to happen, maybe type of look, or like a,
She's still looking at you, and she steps back over to the center of the stairs, and now she points directly towards the workstation that you had been working at earlier, that you had been interacting with in the center of the workshop. She points at that structure, and then she points at you, and then she points at the console again.
points at me, and then at the workstation, and then at me again.
She points at the large workstation upstairs,
Yeah.
and then she points directly at you, and then she points at the kind of control panel station down where you're standing. Okay, at this point, she pantomimes again, basically laying a hand on the console, and then this time she bows her head forward. One moment. Okay, sorry about that.
Orders. So then, okay. So she motions again to the console, and then at the station, and then bow or nods. I'll put my hand back onto the thing and try to, as my hand's on the panel, look at the station to see if there's any change or anything different.
Okay, as you do this and you're trying to figure out if anything's different, she looks at you, and for the first time, you sense kind of almost annoyance or impatience, because you notice that the blades of her spine seem to be vibrating quite a bit more frenetically. And as this happens, you notice a very just slight, as her head is leaned forward a bit, just a slight kind of shaking of the head back and forth. Very, very minor. And as it does this, you notice for just a split second, you hear something from outside, a clanging against the outside of the building, somebody maybe bumping into the building, you're not sure, but some slight amount of noise. And as that noise happens over towards the front door of this facility, right away, this creature crouches back down and slides very, very cautiously up against the wall in this lower area. As it does so, immediately that same weapon snaps out from its left hand and it holds it up next to the wall behind it, as if it's preparing itself for battle. As it does this, it's now looking up the staircase and kind of preparing itself, completely focused on if some threat is coming.
Okay. Which direction did I hear this coming from?
It sounded like something outside the building, kind of out by the front, outside the front door of the building. But to you, it was the most minor little muffled kind of. It sounded like maybe a tourist like stumbled and just leaned against the outside of the bit. Like it was just almost nothing. It was very, very faint.
Well then I'll treat it as such. And I'm drawn. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here at all. I don't understand her emotions. I'm not picking up on them properly or whatever. I put my hand on the thing. I maybe lean forward a bit, but I don't understand what she's trying to tell me at all.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Jesus fucking Christ, keep rolling, bitch, every single fucking time.
All right, man. You're getting pretty frustrated.
I'm very frustrated. I can't figure it out as a person, and my dice rolls are complete ass today.
You're trying. You're trying so hard. And as you're looking around, you just feel like lost. It feels like in school when there'd be some complicated problem that you knew was obvious, but your mind just wasn't able to focus on it for some reason that at that particular moment. So as you're still trying to figure it out, this individual is looking up the stairs, and after just a couple of moments, you see that it appears to be satisfied that there's no longer a threat. And while it still has its weapon primed and ready, it turns back to you and almost seems, you wouldn't say surprised, because those types of emotions are beyond the kind of mirrored faceplate of this being's face. But as it looks back at you, it seems to just stop for a moment and continue looking at you, and then it takes a couple of little side steps towards you, and it points at your forehead with its free hand. Okay? It reaches out with its right hand, and it points at your forehead, and then it points at the console, and then it bends its head forward almost in concentration. And then as it leans back up, it kind of holds one hand up in front of it, its right free hand up in front of it, palm up, in a gesture of, do you understand?
I'm guessing it wants me to use my psychic abilities. So I guess I will do that. I think I have enough to do it again. And I'll use telemechanics.
Okay.
The system, yeah.
Okay. So as you step up to the console and reach out with your hand and place it upon the display face once again, this time you focus your psychic energy to make that connection between man and machine. And as that connection is established, this time right away, a flood of information about all of the different systems within this facility that you're able to access become crystal clear to your perceptions. You are now completely in control of everything from the toilet flush pressure all the way to the smallest outlets GFIs. It is at this moment that you realize that this entire workstation, this entire workshop, is completely and thoroughly bugged, monitored, and under current live surveillance. Okay? You see that there are security cameras, at least 3 dozen, built throughout this entire area, throughout this building. You realize right away that there are no security cameras down here. And you're able to see that there appears to be live video feeds as well as sensory feeds coming from 4 or 5 different kind of sensor nodes throughout this building as well. One is up in each like upper corner of the ceiling, and then there's one in the direct center above the main area. There is not one of those sensor nodes in the bathroom. And those sensor nodes appear to be giving thermal data and all kinds of different multispectral data and things like that. Now, you also see, after just another moment of investigation, that this console isn't really hooked up to be the central controlling feature of all of those surveillance units. It is tied into it kind of by proxy, but what you're seeing is that there's some other kind of operating device that actually appears to be within this room itself, in the southern corner that seems open. The south eastern corner that it doesn't seem occupied by any of those storage crates or anything. But as you glance over in that direction, you're not seeing any operating system. You're just seeing basically some tiled floor.
So when you say that, you mean like
like actually, oh, I'm sorry. I meant southeastern
southeast.
over.
You said southeast. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, you did say southeast. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to, no worries. I'm trying to figure out some way to orient when we're in these things. I've got a compass rose I should put on.
That worked. That little
Okay.
thing. That was fine. Okay. Okay. Well then, yeah. I guess I'll go over and look in that southeast corner.
As you look over there, you're able to see it really well from this distance. There's just nothing there. Now, as you dig a little deeper through your telemechanics, you are able to indeed identify that there's some kind of surreptitious system that's partitioned behind some coding walls, and as you drop those and are able to get access, you are able to release what is essentially the safeties. And as you do so, you see that this section of flooring begins to open. Okay, and as it opens, you see that there appears to be some kind of large, flat structure inside that... There we go, right there. There's a large, flat structure inside that appears to almost be like some kind of um, large workbench that's segmented into 4 different sections. This kind of workbench is about 4 feet tall. It almost looks like a morgue slab that's just sectioned off into 4 parts. And as this device seems to raise up out of this open portion of the floor and set into place, you can tell that there's some kind of hexagonal, almost like pylon system that is making these small individual rods of metal just slightly raise up a few inches and then lower back down in random patterns. And it gives it an almost like honeycomb kind of effect of small kind of pistons raising and lowering just a few inches each, independent of each other. You've never seen a kind of control system like this before, but as it comes up and is exposed and now visible, you see that the system that you're connected to now through telemechanics, it now recognizes this device on its network. And as it does so, you start getting a fair sense that what has just raised up is basically the information gathering operating device that runs every camera and sensor within the workshop. It appears to be whatever is collecting all of that data and then broadcasting it to whoever's actually observing and watching all of this. You can tell that you have control over this device now, and if you choose to, you could either essentially turn it off, or if you were able to make a couple of different attempts, a couple of efforts at doing some things.
Record and loop so it looks like it's still
Exactly. You feel like that would be possible with a couple of maybe skill checks.
Oh, great. Not with my rolls. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll go for it. Fuck, I gotta roll good at least at one point today, right?
So you don't want to turn it off. You want to actually try and loop it.
Yes, I'm gonna try to loop it.
And as you're doing this,
11.
as you're doing this, how long of a loop do you want to make?
I mean, so I'm in the computer. I can see what it sees. I can view the files and view the things that are streaming and all these different things. So I can see what it's recording. Is the loop, is the camera systems and stuff like that, is it moving? Is it panning, oscillating, or is it just still?
They are still. The sensors are basically picking things up in real time from everything but the visual spectrum. And the audio video recording is taking place just in real time as standard. But you're confident with this system that if you wanted to, you would essentially be able to take the motions that you've already had, cut out the parts where you've gone in here, and basically loop it through all of those systems.
I'll make a loop for whatever time of period that I was in here to cover that and continue just being in that loop. So looks like there's nothing there.
Okay. All right. You go ahead and set that up. In theory, let's go ahead and do... let's do a computer operation and then a computer programming roll. And you're going to have a plus 30 on these rolls.
Both, okay.
Beautiful. All right, so you're able to easily access the information that you need to set this up properly, and then you attempt to put it into motion. As you activate it, go ahead and roll your computer programming check. Oh, shit. Look at that.
With the 30, I got it though.
Yeah, man. You just barely got it. Right on. Right on. All right. So you got it where it counts, man. That's what's important. That's what's important. So
No, this crazy robot alien girl's pretty pissed at me for not catching on earlier.
so as you basically hit enter and tell it to execute this little loop that you've set up, a few kind of breathless seconds float by as you're not sure whether it's working, but as you continue monitoring the system, you realize very quickly that everything went completely to plan, and you actually feel really confident that there is no way anybody is going to be using those sensors, at least, to spy on what is happening in there until you reset this system. As soon as you do so,
I'm pretty confident that it's like they're not going to suspect anything because it looks as it should.
correct. You feel like it, yeah, exactly. As soon as you finish doing this, you hear a voice from behind you say,
Jesus Christ, it's about fucking time.
So you can talk.
now, as you hear this, it makes you just kind of jump just a little bit. And right there, guys, is where we're going to take our one and only break here. I'm going to let my pups out, and we'll get right back to the action. All right.
Pause on recording.
There we go. Yeah, I just go to the be right back screen because I'll that way I can just edit it out. No worries.
I don't have much more time.
Okay.
But I do have tomorrow available. I knew this wasn't going to take just 2 hours.
Yeah, man.
but I am.
I was trying.
No, I know, but no. I got about an hour maybe left.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, no worries. And whatever we don't wrap up, we can. If you seem pretty confident you won't be here Sunday, right?
No, not the Sunday.
Okay. Then I'm just saying that means we've got plenty of time if we need to put another one in. So
it's on my sister and brother-in-law as far as times go. My sister hasn't made me keys for the place yet, so I can't even go there by myself to get shit done. So it's kind of like when they're doing it, I'm going to do it. If they're not doing it that day, I'm lucky that I can get off possibly. But at the moment, because I don't want to give them more work than I'm doing. But Saturday, hopefully I'll be getting the key. If not, I'll remind her again. And then Saturday will determine if we're going on again on Sunday. So it's I don't know if we're going on Sunday yet. I'll try to let you know as soon as I find out. Typically done around 4 to 6 my time. But on Sunday, I can talk to her Saturday and see maybe if we can go earlier on Sunday so I can be done maybe around 1 or 2 my time. That way, maybe we could still play. Maybe we can start an hour late.
So, yeah, man. Whatever works for me.
I will talk to her. I'll talk to her. I'll give her a call tomorrow and just see. But I'm not gonna know until Saturday by what we get done Saturday. What's happening for sure on Sunday. But yeah, for sure on Sunday I'll let you know if I'll be able to make it in time or not, most likely. So
sure. And tomorrow I'm available probably after, I don't know, 2 my time. I would
2 your
think.
time would be 4 my time. That's perfect, actually. That's when I get. Do you want to finish this up tomorrow then? And I can. I'll have plenty of time. I get home at 4 tomorrow, which is 2 your time.
Yeah, if you could use the time now.
Yeah,
y-
that would be
if
actually great. Cause
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
I feel like because I have to I get I gotta go in about an hour, but I gotta rush.
Nah, yeah, don't
Kind
do
of.
that, man. This is a great.
Otherwise,
This is the best place to stop it for sure.
yeah, exactly. I don't want to
So
stop it. Like if we don't get it done, if we got a good
yeah,
stopping point here, then we can just pick it up tomorrow and finish it up.
yeah, no worries at all. All right, I'm a. And now, bow your head for the patrons. BKZJT, Rapid 3642. Andy Sasa, Nova Rose, Kerry T, Tommy Gunn. The Z24 Colts, Jess H, It's. If you would like a special thank you at the end of each of my videos, and some other cool stuff as well, visit patreon.com/homegrownlore. Thank you.